Daf Kuf Yud Ches Amud Beis will begin 8 lines from the top. Continuing on with the schar and the benefits of someone who's ma'anig the Shabbos. Rav Nachman by Yitzchak Omar, if a person is ma'anig the Shabbos, nitzal mishibud golius, he'll be saved from the shibud, the oppression of the golius, of the umais. It says here in the pasuk that if a person is ma'anig Shabbos, he'll be raised and he'll walk on the high parts of the world. And you'll be able to trample over your enemies. But you wouldn't have the shibud golius, you'll be able to trample over your enemies. Anyone who is manig the Shabbos, he's given his heart's desires. If a person is manig the Shabbos, he'll be given his heart's desires. What does it mean by oinig? It says he's onig if it's onig al Hashem. It doesn't say specifically in this pasuk Shabbos. But it says on Hashem. What is it referring to? What we see in the pasuk says that v'karasel Shabbos hainig. It says that v'karasel Shabbos hainig. Therefore, that we're referring to over here specifically is the hainig of Shabbos. And this hainig is what referring to. Hainig Hashem is referring to the hainig Shabbos. The person is ma'anig the Shabbos. He's given his heart's desires. As the Ben Yehuda explains, it's a inyan of mida keneged mida. If he's ma'anig the Shabbos, so what is we're talking he's ma'anig the Shabbos in the proper way. How is he ma'anig the Shabbos the proper way? He's not even maharer on his asakim, on his business affairs. He treats like everything, he has everything he needs, everything is given to him. He's not worried on Shabbos about his business, his losses. He doesn't have daigas. That's his ma'anig. He has einig Shabbos. He has einig, delight in the Shabbos. So if he's not concerned about his affairs, mida keneged mida, he'll be given mishalos libay. He'll be given his heart's desires. But Me'man goes, so we're talking about einig Shabbos. How is it ma'anig the Shabbos? Rabbi Yehuda Brei, Rabbi Shmuel Shilis made the Rav Omar. He says, "B'tashel targum v'dogim yedon l'rashi shumim." It is in delicacies. What are delicacies? So an example of delicacies in those days were in cooked beets, and fish, large fish, and garlic, cloves of garlic. So even if it's something small, it's not necessarily something large, but if he does it specially for Shabbos, it's made specially for Shabbos, that was the kind of dip that they had in those days. So even though it's nothing large, it's a dip, but it's a special dip, and he does it for Shabbos, that's also Einik Shabbos. He treats Shabbos as something special. And he does things that are special delicacies for Shabbos. If a person keeps Shabbos properly, according to the halacha, he's Shabbos kil chalsa, even if he's like the door of Enish. It says by the door of Enish that after he was born, it says, as huchal ekroi b'shem Hashem, is the calling of the Shem Hashem became huchal, chulin, it became profane because they were over Zora. Even if he's over Zora to door of Enish, the Moichem Lo, he's forgiven. Shenemar Ashrei Enish Yasha Zoyis, it says that how fortunate is the person who, it says Enish, so it's a reference to Dor Enish. He's over Zora like Dor Enish. And he says he's person Ashrei Enosh Yasa Zoyis Yishamer Shabbos Mechalaloi, and he's Shemer Shabbos from being Mechalat Al Tikrei Mechalala Ela Mochaloi. So he's Shemer Shabbos, and if he's Shemer Shabbos, he's an Enosh that he's Oyer Avodah, but he's Shemer Shabbos Mochaloi. He's forgiven. He's forgiven. The Taz explains we're talking over here where he's Shemer Shabbos, but also he does tshuva for his avera Avodah Zarah. Time when he does tshuva for Avodah Zarah, and he's Shemer Shabbos kil chalsa ma'ichlem. So what's the union over here? So even though he does tshuva for the Avera Avodah Zorah, but for that Avera he would have to have Yisurim. With the tshuva for the Avera Avodah Zorah coupled with Shomer Shabbos Kil, also Meichlam Loyin saves him from the punishment, from the Yisurim. Amr Yudam Aravil Moli Shamra Yisrael Shabbos Rishayna, if Klal Yisrael was Shomer the first Shabbos, after they had the tzivui in the midbar, the first time that they had the commandment of Shabbat, if they had kept it, l'shalta b'mum v'loshen, then no nation would be able to have shlit on them and would not be able to dominate them and punish them. It says it says that on Shabbos, even though they were commanded not to go out and collect the mon, on Shabbos it says that on the seventh day some of the nation went out to collect. And we see right after the pasuk says Vayava Amalek, and it says Amalek came. So because of that oynish of Chil Shabbos, you see the Ummah had shlita. Amalek came and attacked them. The Chaskuni explains, what do we see over here that there was Chil Shabbos? They violated the Isser of going out and collecting the mon. Where do you see Chil Shabbos? He says because they went out to collect the mon. They went out with Kalim. So they were Machal Shabbos. They carried their Kalim out into the public to collect them on. If Klal Yisrael would keep properly observed 2 consecutive Shabbos, they would be redeemed. It says, Shem about the Sarisim who keep the Shabbos, and after that it says and it says you'll be brought to Har Kochi, to Yerushalayim, and you'll be able to bring korbanos. So you'll be seeing that Nigoldim, that those who keep my Shabbos, I share. It says that as I share Yishua Shabsoisai in the plural, 2 Shabbosos. There's various Pirushim in the Meforshim why 2 Shabbosos. The Pitzadik says because a Shabbos to have perfection, it has to have a Shabbos, the Hashpah. The one Shabbos has to have the Hashpah of a previous Shabbos. The Hashpah is mashpia on the days following it, and the days following the Shabbos as well. So a Shabbos that has a Hashpah from the previous week of a Shabbos, and then that second Shabbos has attained a form of perfection. The other Meforshim explain slightly differently in the Michtav Milio, etc. They explain 2 Shabbosos. One Shabbos is to be free from the yoke of the Ummos. One Shabbos elevates Klal Yisrael to be free from the yoke of the Ummos, and the second Shabbos gives them that, elevates them, and gives them that power to have dominion over the Ummos. Says my chelik should be from those who are mekayim the mitzvah of shalosh sudas on Shabbos. There are 3 shudas on Shabbos. He said my chelik should be from those who finish say the halal b'chol yom. Someone who says halal b'chol yom, it's as if he's mecharv megadev, he's belittling and megadev and blaspheming Hashem, meaning that he should not say halal every day. The Meforshim explained different pshat to him. One pshat that he should not say halal every day because by talking about the great nisim and saying it regularly, so it belittles the nes. It should be said on special occasions. We say it on Yom Tov, we say it on Pesach, etc., and we commemorate the great nisim. Saying it on every day, that belittles the nes. Another approach to it is that Meshech Chochmah says is that if we say Hallel every day, it implies that we are praising Hashem for the great Nisim, the Nisim Geluyim. What we do every day is we praise Hashem for the daily Nisim, the Nisim and Historim. And on special occasions we thank Hashem and commemorate the great Nisim. However, what does he mean to say when he says that he should be from those who are Goyim Hal B'Chol Yom? What he means to say is the Hallel he's referring to is the Halukas in Psukim Zimra. Though that's what he should say, that he should praise Hashem daily with the Psukim Zimra. Amr of Yesi, he should be with those that daven with the redness of the sun. So it means in the morning he should daven right after Hanetz Chama, then that's when the sun appears red, and in the evening right before Shkia, where the sun is also setting and is red. Those are the ideal times to daven. Amar Rabbi Chia bar Rav Amar Rabbi Yochanan, mitzvah lispalel d'dumei chama. It's a mitzvah to daven with the redness of the sun. Amar Rabbi Zera Mikro. Where do you see this in the Pasuk? Because it says Yaruch ha'im shamesh l'fnei yareach dur durim. It says that they should have year from you, im shemesh, with the sun shining with the sun, meaning by netzach hama, and it says lifnei yarech, before the moon is visible, meaning at the end of the day, and lifnei yarech dor dorim, throughout the generations. So you see, the ideal time to daven in the morning is by the netzach hama, and the evening is before shkia. He said his chelik should be from those who are nifter with cholim yayim. And then you see that a tzaddik, he dies with cholim yayim. So what is the inyan of that? So Rashi explains, because there's terrible yisurin, and that gives him a kapara for his averis. Taisus brings down the pshat is because that it's memarek the achila from his me'ayim, and he cleanses them, and now he's like a kodesh before his misa. He's kodesh v'tor before his misa. V'amar Rav Yossi, another member of Yossi, says that he should be nifter on the way to do a mitzvah. While he's oisik in a mitzvah, that's how he should be nifter. And he should have his life should be completed. His last task in life should be doing a mitzvah. Now we know that people who are holchei mitzvah einan nizakim, but it doesn't mean, the Mefarshim say that it doesn't mean that because of the derech that's why he's nifter. He's nifter for whatever side reasons that he's nifter, but the point is that his conclusion of his life should be with asiyas and mitzvahs. He says that his chelik should be with those who are bringing Shabbos b'Tiveri. Tiveri is on the mountain, and therefore it appears like the sun is setting, even though it's earlier in the day. Meaning he should be makabel Shabbos early, and he should be mimatzi Shabbos b'Tzipari, and Tzipari is in the valley, and therefore the sun sets, and it doesn't get very dark. It sets later in the valley. It doesn't get very dark until it's much later. So it appears like it's still daytime, meaning, and he is Maitzi Shabbos very late. He should be Mekabel Shabbos early and be Maitzi Shabbos late. Right? He should be Maitzi Shabbos. He should be Mekabel, that those who Mekabel Machnisi Shabbos, bring in the Shabbos into area, do it early, and he should be Maitzi Shabbos, should be late. So Pashup Pshat is that it's a mitzvah to be meisiv from Shabbos, to be meisiv Shabbos, be meisiv achol on the Shabbos, and add on and start Shabbos early and bring it out late. The Rav Nissen Goyen explains over here as well that an added mile of Tveri and Sipari, what the additional point, what they did over here was, Avada, they knew that it appears light appears light in Sipari, even though it's already the end of the day, and it appears like the sun is setting in Tveria, even though there's still time before Shkia. But they were makbid that they should be machnas in Tveria Shabbos early, so the people shouldn't think that it's already Shabbos and they're doing malacha. So they started early to be makabel the Shabbos. And in Sipari, they knew that already it was the end of the day, but since it still had an appearance of lightness, they were makbid to still keep Shabbos, so people shouldn't think that they're doing malacha chas v'shalom when it's still Shabbos. He said his chalik should be from the Gaboim, who are bringing the people into the Beis Medrash, calling them into the Beis Medrash, and not telling them to stop learning and that it's time for the meal time. He should be for those who bring them in to learn and not were those, even though both are necessary, but his chalik should be the ones that bring him in to learn and not tell him that it's time to stop learning and it's meal time. He should be from those who collect tzedakah and not that who distribute it and distribute the tzedakah. To distribute the tzedakah is have to be very careful, and it's to judge who is roy and not roy, and sometimes a person is not given tzedakah who is roy and given tzedakah who is not roy. Rather to be from the collectors rather than the distributors. He should be from those who the people suspect them of doing an avera, but he doesn't have that avera. He really doesn't have that avera, as Mephoshim explained, because that is something that causes a lot of anguish to a person if they're suspected of doing an avera, and it's not true. And that will give him a kaporas avinus, and therefore ultimately he will have his reward in Olam Haba. He said that he had such a mice that they were chayshid him for something, for an aver, it was not true. Rav Yossi said, another statement of Rav Yossi, Chamish Biel's Baalti, he was Isaac 5 times in Bia and Bia's mitzvah, and he planted 5 cedar trees on Klal Yisrael, meaning he had 5 great sons who were great Talmidei Chachamim. Maninu, who were these 5 great Talmidei Chachamim? Rishmol, Rav Yossi, Rav Elazar, Rav Yossi, Rav Chalafta, Rav Yossi, Rav Avtilis, Rav Yossi, Rav Menachem, Rav Yossi. Practically more, but there's a 6th one, Vaike Vardimas. More answers, Haine Vardimas, Haine Menachem. It's one and the same. Vamai Korle Vardimas. Why was Menachem called Vardimas? Shapanov Daim Leveret, because his face was like a rose. He had such a beautiful complexion. He had hadras upon him. So Lameimed Rav Yossi mitzvah zoyna lekim, he said he was only boiled 5 times. He wasn't mekayim the mitzvah zoyna, that the regular mitzvah to have relations with his wife. Or answers not that he only was boiled 5 times Bil's mitzvah, but these 5 times he was boiled and repeated the Maisa Bia. And by doing that, he was Zeicha to Zecharim, to have sons. And his sons were 5 great Talmidei Chachamim. He didn't call his wife just a wife, and his ox an ox. He wanted to give the covet, special covet to his wife. He called his wife the house. She's the keres abayis. She's the foundation of the household. And the shore, he also treated it with respect, and so to speak, and appreciation, that this is the ikar of the field, because without the shore you can't plow and you can't produce the growth, the produce. He was never looked at his mila, his aver. They asked Rebbe, why are you called Rabbeinu HaKodesh? And he said, because he never looked at his Mokum Mila. So, if it was so by Rav Yossi, they should have been called also Rabbeinu HaKodesh. One answer is, Rebbe had an extra mile. That's why he was given that title, Rabbeinu HaKodesh. Rebbe he never put his hand below his belt. He had this great sneers. He was very tsanua, like we just said, and he said that the beams of the house never saw the underside of his cholak, of his garment. Meaning when he removed his garment, he did it under his bed, under his covers, so that he was never unclothed. So he had this midah of tznius and kedushim. He said he was never over on the words of his chaver, his friends. He says, I know that I'm not a kohen. But if his friends would tell him to go up for duchen to bench berachos kahanim, if they would tell me, I would go. Taisus wonders what is the problem with going. He's not a kohen, but what's the issue of going? Taisus suggests perhaps a bracha lebatola. The Marshal says that it says Kois Varchas B'nai Yisrael, that the Kohanim should make the bracha and not others. And if others do, then it's a bit of an essay. He says he never said something about someone and had to retract it. Meaning, Rav Yossi held that there's no lashon hara if a person is something. If you would tell this person to say the item to his face directly, if it would be something that you felt strongly about it, and you saw a chesron in the person and you tell him to his face, there's no lashon hara in that. So he said he never said something that he had to retract it and afterwards say that he and retracted and now back away from it. Whatever he said about a person, it was something that he would say to his face. We don't pass in this way like Rav Yossi, but he held that there's no lashon hara in such a matter, and therefore he said he never spoke what he would consider to be lashon hara. He said he should have schar. He's deserving of schar because he kept properly the mitzvah shalosh sudas on Shabbos. So therefore, he is deserving of a special reward from that. And Rav Yehuda Taseli, the time is Iyun Tefillah. He said he is deserving a special reward because he's Mekayim Iyun Tefillah. He had proper kavana and tefillah. As Taisus points out in several places, it doesn't mean Iyun Tefillah that he is looking to anticipate to see if his tefillahs will be answered. And that brings, as the Gemara says, that's machlas leiv, tachlo einayim. What it means is that he has a proper kavanah and tefillah. Amar Rav Huna Brei the Rav Yeshua Tasili the Lois again Arba Amos Begila Roish. He never walked 4 amos with the head uncovered. Amar Sheshes Tasili the Kamen Mitzvah Tefillah. He was Mekamen the Mitzvah Tefillah. Vam Rav Nachum Tasili the Kamen Mitzvah Tzitzis. He was Mekamen Mitzvah Tzitzis. Amar Le Rav Yossi Brei the Rabba Mucha Mai Zohar Tzvei. What was he especially careful for? Amar Betzitzis. He says Betzitzis. Yom Echad Havakasole B'Darga. In one time he was gone up on a ladder. Ifsklei Chuta, one of the Chutim of the Tzitzis tore. V'loi Noches V'asa Kamadolei Ramya. And he did not go off the ladder until they tied in the other Chut to be Mashlim, the Chut that was missing. He was so careful in Mitzvah Tzitzis. Mepharshim explained that this reward that the people are referring to over here doesn't mean schar, because Al Tiu Kavanah Misham Shemes Harav Amanasa Kabet Schar. What it means is, basically, that he should be zoichet a special siyata d'shmaya that should help him in his avodas Hashem and do other mitzvahs with the schar of doing a mitzvah in perfection. To do a mitzvah, to complete a mitzvah in perfection, there's a special maila in doing b'makayim mitzvahs in perfection. And he said that this was the mitzvah. Each one of them said that this was the mitzvah that they kept to perfection. Besides the general mitzvahs, and to have more mitzvahs and more zchuyas than averas, to have more mitzvahs, but there is a special union of the Mekayim mitzvah with perfection, and that gives a person siyata d'shmaya to be Mekayim more and more mitzvahs.